Yo, what's up guys, I'm Nuo, and today I'm going to help you decide what element you should masterwork your armor. So you've just gotten your first Ascendant Shard, or Golf Ball as we like to call it here in the Destiny community. Or maybe you're just a bit indecisive. You're probably wondering, what elemental affinity should I set this piece to? Well, hopefully over the course of this video, I'm able to guide you to the right decision. If you're just here for a quick suggestion and don't care about an explanation, here you go. Hunters should use Void helmets unless they're running Arc Strider, in which case they should run Arc. Warlocks should use Solar unless you're running Well of Radiance, in which case you should probably run Void. I recommend that Titans either run Arc or Solar, depending on if you're running a melee or a grenade build. For the arms, it really varies from subclass to subclass. I recommend just finding an affinity that fits your specific build and your combat style mods. Your chestplate, again, is fully dependent on what combat style mods you want to use, or in case you're doing some really high-end content, depending on the enemy damage type. I almost always recommend Solar for legs, but if not possible, use Void. Avoid Arc unless absolutely necessary. For the class item, if you plan on using the class item specific mods that have affinities, you probably want to use Solar or Void. If you don't, this is a perfect slot for Arc Charged with Light mods. That's it for the quick summary, now I'll dive into the explanations. Each piece of armor has 4 slots. The first slot is the general mod slot. This is used for stat mods. Thankfully, you shouldn't worry about this slot because none of the mods have affinities. The second and third mod slots are your classic mod slots. Each part of your armor set can slot different mods here. For example, helmets can slot ammo finders and legs can slot scavengers. The fourth mod slot is the combat style mod slot. These are mods that are generally introduced as seasonal pursuits, and once the season is over, they can only be obtained from the Gunsmith's daily sale. These mods are extremely good at taking basic builds to that next level. Additionally, if you have raid armor, it will have a 5th mod slot that can slot raid specific mods into it. Be aware that most of these mods do have affinities. The first thing you're going to want to think about is your combat style mods. At the moment, these mods include Warmind Cell mods and Charged with Light mods. If you have a fair amount of these mods unlocked and you're planning on using them in your armor set, which I highly recommend, I would first check out Dado's beginner guide, which will be linked in the description. Warmind Cell mods fit into 3 distinctive categories. Solar mods deal with exploding, Arc mods deal with collecting, and Void mods deal with leaving the cell on the ground. Charged with Light mods are somewhat categorized as well. Solar deals with explosive and healing, Arc mods deal with melees and close quarters combat, and Void mods deal with precision and survivability. Not all the Charged with Light mods can be categorized this way, but it's a good baseline. For the remaining affinities, it's important to think about what the theme is for your desired build. Are you using grenades often? Do you use your melee ability often? Are you using your class ability often? Mods are divided into 3 elements, relatively thematically similar to the Charged with Light mods. Solar mods deal with grenades and healing, Arc mods generally deal with melees, and Void mods generally deal with class abilities and survivability. And for one last general tip, if you have multiple pieces per slot, try to mix the affinities up. In case you want to swap your builds later, it's nice to have everything covered. Don't only have Void helmets or Solar legs. Try to mix things up, because you never know when you're going to want to change how your build functions. Okay, so now that you have an idea of what each element brings to the table, let's go piece by piece, starting with the helmet. The helmet offers the basic non-affinity mods for weapon targeting and ammo finders, but the thing to focus on here are the elemental mods. Void helmets have Dynamo, Solar has Ashes to Assets, and Arc has Hands-On. These mods are all responsible for generating super energy by using either your melee, your grenade, or your class ability. If you're running a grenade build with high discipline, I recommend Solar. If you're using a high strength build, I recommend Arc. And if you're running a hunter with high mobility, Void is super strong. In the end, it's up to you. If you don't think any of these mods are super valuable though, you can always just wait until you figure out your other armor affinities before selecting your helmet affinity. Moving on to the arms also have a few different mods. They have the anti-champion artifact mods like Unstoppable and Overload, and they also have reload mods and dexterity mods, the fastball mod, and a few affinity-based mods. On Solar, Impact Induction reduces your grenade cooldown on melee damage. On Arc, Momentum Transfer does the opposite. It reduces your melee cooldown on grenade damage. Void has 2 options. Bolstering Detonation gives class ability on grenade damage, and Focusing Strike gives the same effect on melee damage. Trying to figure out which element to masterwork your arms really just comes down to your playstyle and what you want to do with your abilities and how you want to synergize them. Chest armor can slot reserves and unflinching weapon mods. It can also slot resist mods. Melee resistance, concussive dampener, and sniper resistance can go in any chest piece, regardless of affinity, so no need to worry about those. The only elemental mods for chest armor are actually just the elemental resist mods. Each resist mod provides a 20% damage resistance, but they stack multiplicatively. Deciding which element you want to masterwork your chest armor will most likely come down to the combat style mod you want to slot into it. I generally end up masterworking my chest armor as arc because the general arc mods are generally weaker on other armor pieces, and I like to slot arc charged with light mods. Leg armor can slot your basic scavenger mods, a 0 energy traction mod, and mods that give you effects when picking up orbs of light. Absolution is the most basic of these mods. It can go in any affinity for 3 energy, and so we don't really need to worry about that. The other 5 mods are affinity based, and they make choosing what affinity to make your legs a little bit more difficult. The 3 mods that fit into melee, grenade, and class ability theme are somewhat of a mouthful. The arc mod, Invigoration, reduces your melee cooldown when picking up orbs of light. The solar mod, Innervation, reduces grenade cooldowns when picking up orbs of light. And the void mod, Insulation, reduces your class ability cooldown when picking up orbs of light. The other 2 mods that can slot into the legs deal with health recovery. The solar mod, Recuperation, grants a chunk of health on orb pickups, and the void mod, Better Already, instantly begins health regeneration on orb pickups. Both Better Already and Recuperation are strong in just different situations. Because there is no arc mod of this style, I would generally stay away from masterworking arc legs unless absolutely necessary. Finally, class items. Class items are rather interesting. Often, the majority of my energy is spent on the strong artifact mods that can be slotted here. For example, this season we've got a 6 energy mod called Spoils of War, so I don't really have much room for other mods. However, the other mods in the slot deal with class ability usage and finishers. The non-affinity locked mods include Snapload Finisher, which generates primary ammo, Special Finisher, and Distribution, which reduces all ability cooldowns on class ability usage. Void class items can slot Perpetuation, which reduces your class ability cooldown, and Bulwark Finisher, which generates an Overshield. Art can slot Outreach, which reduces melee cooldowns on class ability usage, and 1-2 Finisher, which recharges your melee. Finally, Solar can slot Bomber to reduce your grenade cooldown, Explosive Finisher, and Healthy Finisher, which restore grenades and health respectively. Generally speaking, I wouldn't worry too much about your bond's energy. Because they don't have intrinsic stats, it's your best bet to masterwork one of each affinity. This will give you a lot of flexibility in your mod slots. Obviously, if you don't have the Ascendant shards, choose one that works well and just keep some other ones on your character. In summary, when masterworking armor, your first priority is figuring out what affinities your combat style mods require. You then want to go through the list of mods and figure out which mods will have the most impact on your playstyle. Consider all of your options before committing that golf ball. There really is no correct answer for your armor affinities, so choose whatever works best for you. There was a lot of information in this video, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below and I'll try to respond to all of them. Also, if you have any pointers you'd like to share with other people in the comments, feel free to leave them below. I'm sure other people would like to hear others' opinions, rather than just my own. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. The support on my last few videos has been astounding, and I can't wait to release more videos like this over the next few weeks. That's about it for now. See you guys later.